Just give me 2 seconds here. Okay. Alright, so I'm gonna drop the game volume just a little bit. I might actually bring you on, Clem, into the chat so we could talk about this, because it's harder to do this when it's harder to talk about these things when you have to do like chat versus me speaking out loud. But all right, we'll try like this first, and if it gets more personal, then yeah, I'll bring you on and we can
Just type L in the chat and you get the ad, so he knows.
yeah. Oh yeah, just let me know when you get an ad, if you get an ad, because if you get one, I need to pause so that you know, so say, you know, type ad like the way you typed in earlier. Just type ad, and then I'll know that I need to pause so that I can, you know, deal with the pauses, well, with the gap. Oh, this is gonna suck. Okay. So, let me ask you a question. What do you consider marriage? Okay, if I'm subbed now, no worries. Okay, awesome. If you're subbed, then you don't have to worry about ads. So, what do you consider marriage, Clem? Right? When you think about being married, what does that mean to you? And you can type in a long response if you want, and I'll read it out loud. And I'm gonna tell you what I told one of my friends. But I just want to know where your mentality is at. So if you had to take a minute to just think about what does marriage mean to me, you know, so give me a filler of what it signifies. Wow, it didn't grab him. That sucks. I might change my chat to just chatting.
Stop trying so fucking hard.
He really was doing too much.
I mean, I'm over here like spamming my invis like I should be. And
Right.
get a bitch. Invis is back. Oh man, I'm dead.
Wow, well, that should have been a trade.
Not me. Oh, nice. Not today, Satan boy. Fucking nerd.
Can't see if to catch a break with these guys. They're just holding back now. So yeah, Clem.
Damn, he did.
So the question here is, oh, there it goes. Okay, so I think marriage is a commitment to someone who shares the same values and desires and beliefs and has as much love for each other as their partner. It's something sacred that God has planned for everyone and lasts until each are both in the grave. Okay, I mean that sounds like, and I don't want you to take this offensive in a offensive manner, but that sounds like something your girl would say. That doesn't sound like something a guy would say, right? Now, and I'm going to tell you where that stems from, okay? And the reason I say it like that is because if we're up to guys would never get married, okay? I think the majority, and this is just my opinion, of course, I think the majority of guys will get married because the girl in today's society, right? The girl is the one that wants to get married. I don't think dudes are out there like, yeah, that's the girl I want to get married to. Woo! Like, no, I don't think we're running around like that's the last girl I want to be with forever, right? Because biologically, right? And I'm just gonna, biologically, we check out every girl, pretty or ugly, right? Doesn't matter what she looks like. We check them all out. Now, just because we check them all out doesn't mean we want to be with all of them. But that's the point, right? We are frivolous with our sexuality, right? That's my point, right? So dedicating yourself to a girl or a woman, however you want to word it, or a partner, a life partner, right? As a dude is like saying, I am going to, and I tell my girlfriend this all the time. Listen, I say this. I say, hey, when I say I love you, it doesn't mean, oh, I love you. You're the last one for me. I could never be with anybody else. No, it means I am going to fight this urge of wanting to be with everybody just to be with you. That's what that means, right? And I'm very open about it. I have a very transparent relationship with my girl. I don't hold anything back. And so what that means is it's the realism of her understanding that me saying I want to be with you forever, right, doesn't mean everything else stopped working. No, everything works as normal. It just means now I need to fight those urges, and sometimes it just might not be enough as an individual for her to just, it's like a unquenchable thirst, right? You need a endless supply of water, and even then it's still not enough water, right? And that's what I'm trying to say. That's how I describe it to her. So you can't block out the sun with your hands. You can make shade, but it's always temporary, right? There's always effects, right? Like another effect. Here's an effect, right? Just because you have shade doesn't mean that you're cool, right? The heat is still felt even if you're in the shade. Slightly cooler, but you still get hot. And that's the whole point of how guys are, right? And at the end of the day, she has to understand that that is how the majority of men are, right? We're not honest about it, right? But I've chosen to always be honest because it's just easy for me to be honest, because it's just a righteous way of being, right? I'm not gonna sugarcoat things, and if she can't handle the truth, then maybe she's not the one for me, right? I need her to be able to dabble in the truth. Okay, a little sidetrack there. So when you think about marriage, right, you're an EMT, right? At least you've aspired to become an EMT. I'm just gonna take your word that you are, right? So you should be stemming in the world of maybe 100K or 80 to 110, give or take, right? And it also depends on your geographic location, and the state you live in, right? So that will determine how much money you're really making. Okay, so I'll just assume that you make between like 85 and 120,000. Okay, so you're 20 and she's older. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, dating an older woman, she might just see you as a prospect, okay? And that's going to be my first assumption, and that should be your first assumption too. The national average of income for men, okay, is $46,000. Okay, that means, give or take, depending on the state that you live in, the majority of the population only makes about $46,000 a year. All right, which means that if you make higher than the average 2 times, 3 times, you're more rare, and it's rare, and at the same time you have to be more guarded about your finances, because it's very easy, right, to rope you into a relationship, into a child, into something that's going to, you know, take child support, you know, that's going to take alimony, and even with a prenuptial clause, you'll still be privy to, you know, them throwing away the prenup, because she might say, I signed it under duress, like I didn't mean to sign it, you know, or he forced me to, or I didn't agree to, however she words it, right? You, like, there's even rules onto how you're supposed to ask for those things to be signed. That's how serious and fast, you know, those things are thrown out. So essentially, just like women don't pick any guy, right, especially when they're more beautiful, they're more selective. As you go up the finance tree, you should also be very selective of who you decide you're gonna date. That's the tug of war there. Now, the reason I went into that first is because I wanted you to understand where that idea comes from, or that concept has to come from. Because when you say I do, you're saying I do give you 50% of my life earnings for the rest of your life, and then some. That's the point. So for you to just sign a document, it's like, hey, well, I agree to just give you half because I think you're worth it. Well, you'd have to break down what it means for her to be worth it. Okay, and I guess that's my next question to you is, why is she worth it? You're saying she's worth it. Okay, what is so different about her than the next girl, I guess? And I'm not gonna say woman just because that word is a trigger word for streaming stuff. So we'll just keep it boy and girl, just to keep it simple. So what is different about her as a girl that is unlike, you know, than the next girl? So take some time and answer that, and then I'll, you know, we'll come back to that. I'm just curious as to what makes her different, which is very synonymous to the question, what does she bring to the table? But I don't want you to tell me what she brings to the table. I want you to tell me what makes her more unique. Oh wow, that man keep wrecking me just now. Oh, he still got me. Wow, I believe he actually got me again. gonna kill him.
Ooh. They spawned inside. I think. Yeah, I think I'm good with the invis right now. Right weekend, right map of trials, and I'm gonna fucking rock it.
Word. You think you just goated like that now?
What's that?
You think you just goated like that now?
I mean, I undid their nerf. I did what no one else knows to do.
I got wrecked.
Tried to shoot that tether. My second shot. I have to die with my team.
No, the flame. That flame messed me up.
I hit that snipe this time. You got one guy killed. Got a lot right there at the end of that, like 6 times. Hmm.
Well, okay, so here we go. So here's your response. You said, well, she's nothing like these other women. She's more traditional and loyal. She actually views me as an equal since we've been together. She's never taken advantage of my finances or trust. I can trust her to be where she's saying. Oh, where she's saying she's going or doing what she's doing, and we're open about everything. We both talk when there's an argument instead of yelling and other stuff. GG's. That was your last one? All right, bet. So, okay. I'm gonna chill for a bit. All right, Conkers. I appreciate you just gaming with me, buddy. So, I'm gonna bring you on stream. Do me a favor. It's just gonna be easier if I just talk to you direct, if you don't mind. Do me a favor, go to the Discord. We'll talk this live. It just might be easier, right? And again, by no means am I trying to step on. In no means am I trying to step on what you're doing or what you think you're doing, right? I take it as more of. Take it as more of just big bro, you know, like big bro who's on your side of the fence. Because, you know, sometimes we just don't have that. And I could definitely attest that even when I was younger, I didn't have that kind of influence or that kind of friend who could have those kind of conversations and just be realistic about it. So what I would consider now to be more common knowledge isn't so common, you know, and that's the bottom line to that. So hold on, I'm gonna bring you on. and then we can kind of talk it out. Of course, if you want to. But if not, don't stress it. It's not gonna, you know. I'm actually at work, so I can't. All right, no worries. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, like, I'll just boil it down to this, right? If I could see why it's appeasing, right? Because she's traditional or slightly different than today's generation, which is, I think, wild. But as far as I'm concerned, right? There's not, I don't have enough context, right? I can only just go over some of the basic things, right? So again, my main concern would be that you're still too much in a young state of mind and lack of experience to essentially take on such a serious commitment, right? And even if somebody, and I don't know if you could recognize the signs of somebody who little bros you, and I don't know if you know that way of that kind of comment or that statement. It's literally when somebody, they see you, right, but they don't treat you, they may treat you with respect, but they don't treat you as and you don't essentially want to be equal, right? It would probably help if I told you, yeah, that would probably help a lot. You would probably want to be an equal, right? But like I said, you have the burden of performance, so you're the one who has to take lead, and it's you're the one who has to kind of be the guy, right, to lead the relationship, right? And if she, especially at 21, women at 21 don't tend to look at guys in their 20s. Usually they tend to like older men, right? And the exchange is usually there, right? They want older men because older men are more centered to what they want, stability. It's more about stability and resource, right? They're more on point with that. The benefit that you have is that you already, you might already be in a place where you are stable already enough, but that's besides the point, right? I think it's, for guys, I think the appropriate age, even in today's society, if you did decide to tie the knot, would probably be, sorry, not a year, just 5 months. It would probably be like 27-ish, 28. And the reason I say that is because you need some time for life experience, right? One of the things you need in life is to have more experience about life under your belt. And if you don't have enough of that, it plays against you, is what I'm basically saying. Because then you make those mistakes in your relationships, and they can have a very adverse effect to your actual relationship. So you want to make those mistakes outside of that. You want to be able to define who you are, as a guy, to avoid having to do that while in a relationship. Because what happens is as you, yes, it's considered growth, but those things they have a negative effect on your relationship, and I've had many relationships fail because I wasn't defined and I was wavering, right? I wavered when I had things that I would just allow, right? And when you allow things to happen because you're not defined, then your partner can and will lose respect for you, because it's like when you meet a kid in the park, right? And you can push him around, and you just met him, but you're able to push him around enough. And what happens there is that it's like a punk test, right? And if you meet a girl and a girl gives you the punk test and you fail, well, it's hard to regain some of that, you know, validation that you're not a punk, is what I'm saying. She's always gonna consider you, or might already have eyes that you're kind of a pushover. And even when you try not to be a pushover anymore, you're still seen as a pushover. And so those kind of things are what I'm saying would play against you when you're not really defined as an individual, as a man, right? Things that you are there, these are not, this is what I call non-negotiables, things that I will not tolerate ever. And if you do tolerate them, it's because you're not strong enough to say, you know, oh, I'm not gonna allow that. So if you're gonna do that, I'll take the L. You can go. And that's something that at 20, even myself personally, I didn't have that defined. Hell no. I was still learning about the things that I would tolerate and wouldn't tolerate. So 100%. That's why I say, like, you shouldn't just yet, because there's a lot of discovery that is still pending, literally just pending, that you're still kind of trying to figure out. At least I would hope that you're still trying to figure out. But anyway, that's a long-winded rant. But you know, if you decide to ask, there's no guarantee she'll say yes. But then here's a big question for you. If you ask and she says no, are you going to stay with her? That's another big question. That's a really big question. And here's a funny part. Why would I be with somebody who doesn't see a long-term relationship? Right? Oh, well, I don't think it's gonna go there, so then why are you wasting your time? Effectively, if she says no, that might be the end of your relationship. So you really have to ask your question, like, if she says no, are you gonna stay with her? Because again, I'm not saying that's what's gonna happen, but it is a possibility that she could say that. And if she says that, what are you gonna do? Just a thought. Oh, yeah. You actually didn't think of that? These are the kind of things, right, that you should have in your mind, right? And it's unfortunate, right, that you have to make those hard decisions, right? But you also have to realize that this is a reality. This is the reality that you have to live. Because she might enjoy your company now, but you know, like a lot of some of these sayings say, you might just be Mr. Right Now, or it might just be your turn, and you know, it's the season for you and her, and then after that, you know, you might not check all the boxes for her. So asking for a serious commitment, she might just look at you and go, are you crazy? I'm only 21. I'm only 20. Like she might just come at you sideways and be like, you know, I'm not looking for that kind of level of seriousness, you know. And it, you know, I find it funny because I've seen this play out so many times, right? Guys really do put their hearts on the line. I think more than women, when it comes to relationships. And I'm saying that in a general sense. I'm not saying like that's the golden rule. But as far as I'm concerned, women move on faster than men because men fall in love with the idea of something. And when I say the idea of something, I'm talking about like, you know, we want to work to give, right? Like I want to give her the world, right? That's how guys think. I want to give her everything I can in the world that I can reach with my own hands. And so with that mentality, right, it means that you're willing to give 100% of you, but when it doesn't work, we still want to give them a lot, right? When it comes to women see guys as, you know, kind of like a lottery ticket. You know, they're scratching off the lottery ticket, hoping that that's the best option that she picked. You know, it hits the lotto, like this was the jackpot relationship. And as far as I'm concerned, you know, girls pick the men, but men offer the relationship. That's also a common saying now. She can pick you to be the man that she wants to date, but only you can offer marriage, right? She can't, just like you can't force her to do things, right? She can't, you know, and just to be careful with terms of service, just like she can't offer you, you can't force yourself onto her. She cannot force you to have a relationship with her. That's the point. So if she's trying to, you know, force you or guilt you into a relationship, right? She can't force you to do that. Just like you couldn't force her to be with you, right? She had to pick you. And so girls pick the men up front and men pick the women on the back end, right? So she can't she can ask all she wants. It's when you feel like doing it. It's not when she says. Now, there was somebody who said this really nicely. I'm gonna paraphrase it. Essentially, based on her age, she's doing the 1, 2, 3s of life. All right, what does that mean? The 1, 2, 3s. Well, you know, first I go to school, and then I graduate, and then I go to college, and then after college I'll meet a guy, and then I'll date him, and then I'll get married, and then I'll have kids, and then we'll buy a house with the white picket fence. This is the 1, 2, 3s of life, because she's in that age. You know, like, oh, it's like I have my life planned out for myself, and this is what I want. But if you ever hesitated to say yes, or that's what I'm going to do, or you don't decide that you want to do it, well, you should trust that instinct, right? It's not fear. It's because you know something's wrong. Because being with her and then marrying her are still the same thing. The only thing that you just did was invited the state to be in your affairs. I mean, the bottom line is that you're inviting the state to participate in how you handle your finances and money. But if she didn't keep everything traditional, like you know, you already are benefiting from the perks of a relationship outside of a marriage, and the only thing that she's asking for is, I want the wedding, I want the party, I want the festivities, which really is more money out of your pocket. All right, so I would say you should be working, saving your money, investing, right, and making all the necessary arrangements to make sure that you at 30 are in a good place, so that you can take your money and start a business, or you know, invest it into something that will generate income later in life, like long term, some short term goals, right, which makes you more secure, right? But if you get married, then you have to consider, how much debt is she in, because her debt becomes your debt now. Is she gonna work? Are my resources going to diminish because I'm sustaining a relationship? And the funny part is that at 20, you have 10 years before you even have to start considering if that's something you want to do. That's how I would say. Like, I'm 20 and I make, you know, $85,000 to $130,000, and I'm about to take on this new, you know, debt and person and responsibility. I would probably, the smart thing to do would be, hey, I'm not ready to do that. Now, if you're afraid that she's gonna walk away, then I would tell you that you're not living your life in the right direction, because you should always assume that they're going to walk away. You shouldn't be like, I'm trying to keep her forever. No, you should always be like, there's always a potential that she's gonna leave. And that's when you have to ask yourself, if she left right now, what would you miss? And you can answer that question if you like, but the majority of guys don't have the ability to answer that question, because it's an ego thing, right? It's like, oh, I have her, she's with me. It's a possessive ego. But in reality, if she left you right now, what would you really miss? Yo, what's up, Taco? What am I doing? I'm talking to Clemens right now about some life stuff. Hi, what's up? So, beat Bomber in threes? I mean, I'll play. Sure. Let me finish this match and you can send me an invite. Wow, that didn't kill. If I have time or you need to find a third, just find a third. Just go ahead, take your time. Let me know when you're ready. But yeah, that's the big question. What would you miss? And I could definitely tell you, you're not gonna say that you miss much, right? Because what are you gonna say? The hair, the way she cooks your breakfast, all of that stuff is doable and replaceable. And that's why I say, like, you say that, you know, you might miss something, but I'm telling you, you'd still spend the majority of your time going, I don't think I would miss anything. It's the possession part. It's just not her and she's not there. That's what you would probably contemplate saying. So it sounds like a buzzkill, but it's really not, right? It's just to wake you to the realism that you shouldn't dream so much about the relationship and what it means. You should take it for what it is, you know, in all seriousness, right? It is a division of your assets that you've worked hard to achieve. That's what you should probably think about first. And then the burden that you'll have of maintaining it, right? Of reducing your income to, you know, it's just essentially reducing your income, and what that means if you do. And then on top of that, the kind of guy you are, right? building definition as to the kind of guy you want to be or the kind of guy you need to be. Just something to think about. Anyway, all in all, man, congrats. If you decide to do it, I wish you the best. I hope you think long and hard about the things I said. and yeah, I mean, you know, you should always see it as, if you do something this big, right? What is the consequence if it goes south? All right. What does it mean? You should always look at it from the other side of the coin, which is the world that we live in, the real world. What will happen if I get divorced? What happens to my assets? What happens to relationships with people, right? You know, what is it gonna cost? And then even outside of what is it gonna cost, it's you know, what is the impact to your everyday life? I don't know. Those things are scary things to think, right? And the faster you have the answer to those things, the faster you'll know if it's the right thing to do. I would probably start with asking or finding out how much debt that person has. I'm not marrying somebody that has $100,000 of debt. Hell no. Sorry, I'm not doing it. Right? Then you need to consider family, you know, things they believe in. All right, do they align? Do they not align? Etc. If they don't align, what are the consequences of that? And then after all of that, at the end, then and only then would I say you're probably closer to being able to tie the knot. But I don't know. I personally, it's hard. It's a hard decision, right? Damn, these guys are wiping me clean. I think the most important part is just understanding consequence. If you can understand consequence, then yeah. At that point, it is what it is. But if you get even the slightest bit defensive with these kind of questions, nah, you're probably not ready, man. Hands down. Damn it. Getting team shot, like, it's getting annoying. I fight one person, like 3 more show up, and then none of my teammates show up until after I'm dead. It's stupid. Damn it, he still got me. So where's my shotgun? Damn it. I just hit him. It didn't work. Damn, these guys 30 bombed us. It sucks. We have 2 more and we lose. Oh, I got him. That sucks.